Hello to all. We are the students of ST.XAVIER'S High School ST.XAVIER'S. I am Miss Khyati Soni.
And I am Miss Sanidhi Shetty.
So, before starting off, let us see the words of the Almighty God. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? Psalm 27 verse 1. Dr. A.F. Pinto. Dr. Augustine Francis Pinto is the Honorable Chairman of our Ryan International Group of Institutions. He is our visionary as he has given us 12-point visions which help us go in the right direction. Dr. Grace Pinto has always believed in women empowerment, as thus is our mentor. She inspires our girls and sets an example through her success as she was the director of the Ryan International Group of Institutions.
Japan. The Japanese flag, known as the Nishoki or more commonly as the Hinomaru, has a simple design featuring a red circle on a white background. The exact origin of this flag is not definitely known, but it has a long history in Japanese culture. Introduction. Japan is an island nation located in East Asia, known for its unique culture, technology and natural beauty. With a population of over 126 million, it is one of the world's most densely populated countries. Japan is renowned for its traditional arts such as tea ceremonies, calligraphy and ikebana, flower arrangement. The country has a rich history and has been influenced by various cultures over the centuries. Japan is also home to many technological innovations and is known for its advancements in robotics and electronics. The country has a diverse cuisine that includes sushi, ramen and tempura. Japan is also famous for its beautiful cherry blossoms that bloom in spring. Japan is an island country in East Asia consisting of an archipelago of 14,125 islands covering 377,975 square kilometers. The country's four main islands are Hokkaido, Honshu, Shikoku and Kyushu. Japan is known for its technological advancements, stable and prosperous economy, low crime rates and hardworking population. Japan has a rich culture and history. The ancient Shinto religion says natural features like mountains, waterfalls and forests have their spirit or soul. Japan is home to some wonderful wildlife. Some of the country's most incredible creatures include the cicadea, red-crowned crane, Stellar's sea eagle and the Japanese macaque monkey. The Japanese people have a deep affection for the beauty of the landscape. Japan can be a dangerous place. Three of the tectonic plates that form the Earth's crust meet nearby and often move against each other, causing earthquakes. More than 1,000 earthquakes hit Japan every year. Japan also has about 200 volcanoes, 60 of which are still active. Japan has a population of over 125 million inhabitants and is the 11th most populous country in the world. The official language of Japan is Japanese.
Japanese government. Japan's government is a constitutional monarchy where the emperor's power is limited to mainly ceremonial duties. The government has three branches: the executive, legislature and the judiciary. The emperor is the head of state and the imperial family. His position does not influence the activities of the government in any way. The prime minister therefore is the head of the government. The Japanese constitution was adopted in 1947 and it has not been amended since it was enacted. The Prime Minister of Japan is Fumio Kishida. The executive branch of the government of Japan. The executive branch of the Japanese government consists of the Prime Minister and the Cabinet of Ministers. The Prime Minister is the head of both the executive branch and the cabinet. The legislature nominates him to serve for a term of 4 years. He is responsible for controlling and supervising the activities of the executive branch and is also the head of Japan's self-defense forces. He presents the bill to the legislature, signs laws, and can declare a state of emergency. The cabinet includes the ministers of state, whom the Prime Minister appoints or dismisses. According to the law, the number of these ministers should not exceed 14 and can only increase to 19 under exceptional circumstances. The cabinet can resign if the Diet House of Representatives casts a vote of no confidence or if the Prime Minister's post is vacant. It is responsible for conducting the affairs of the state, manages foreign affairs, concludes territories, administers civil service, and prepares the budget. The legislative branch of the government of Japan. The legislative branch is the national diet. It is a bicameral organ comprising of the House of Representatives and the House of Councillors. The Constitution endorses it as the highest organ of the state power and the sole law-making organ in the country. Its functions include drafting laws, approving the national budget, approving conclusion of treaties, and selecting the Prime Minister. It can also amend the Constitution by drafting the changes and presenting them to the people for approval. The Houses can conduct investigations about government, demand the presence of witness, produce records, and ask the Prime Minister and other ministers to give explanation regarding the affairs of the state. Judiciary of Japan. The judicial branch of the Japanese government consists of the Supreme Court, the High Court, District Courts, and Family Courts, and Summary Courts. It is independent of the legislature and the executive branches. The justice of the Supreme Court can be dismissed through a referendum which takes place during the general election of the members of the House of Representatives and the first general election for every 10 years lapse after that. The Emperor appoints the Chief Justice while the Cabinet appoints the other court judges in the presence of the Emperor. Local government of Japan. Japan has 47 administrative divisions which include 1 metropolitan district, 2 urban prefectures, 43 rural prefectures, and 1 district. The main cities are subdivided into wards, then further split into towns, precincts, and counties. Each precinct has its mayor and assembly. Villages are the smallest units and their mayors serve for a term of 4 years. Each jurisdiction has a governor or mayor in the municipalities. There is a separation of power in the local government, and the assembly can dismiss the government by a vote of confidence and can stipulate laws called local ordinances or regulations. The local governments also have other committees like the school boards, personal committees, and auditing committees.
Elections in Japan. Japan has 3 types of elections. General election to the House of Representatives held every 4 years. Elections of the House of Councillors held every 3 years, and local elections held every 4 years in the prefects and local governments. The Central Election Administration Committee oversees the country's election through different committees serving at various levels. An individual must be 25 oversees the country's election through different committees serving at various levels. An individual must be 25 years or older to vie for the seat of the House of Representatives and 30 years to be eligible for the seat of the House of Councillors. The role of Constitution of Japan. According to Japanese Constitution, Article number 9, the country does not have an official military force, but does have the Japan Self-Defense Forces, which is an extension of People Police Force. They are responsible for national territorial defense and may be deployed out of the country for UN peacekeeping. The Constitution of Japan controls the activities and the powers of the government. It stipulates the separation of powers among the three branches. It empowers the ceremonial role of appointing the Prime Minister and the Chief Justice, convoking sessions of the Diet and awarding state honors. It also stipulates that the government cannot maintain the armed force for aggression purposes. The services of the police are under the National Public Safety Commission, whose head is the Cabinet Minister. This body is responsible for supervising, guiding, and coordinating separate forces of the prefectures under the control of the Commission for Public Safety.
The capital of Japan is Tokyo. It has a population of 126 million or over. The climate is humid subtropical. It extends to an area of 377.97 square kilometer. It has a GDP of 4295.00 USD billion. The religions followed in Japan are mainly Shintoism and Buddhism. The official language of Japan is commonly known as Japanese or natively as Nihongo. The currency of Japan is yen.
Following are the problems faced by Japan: aging society, sinking economy, radiation, sinking birth rate, unpopular and seemingly powerless government. Also, other issues that Japan is facing include gender inequality, discrimination against foreign nationals, natural disasters, social isolation, stress, child abuse, poverty among single women, and environmental problems such as wildlife destruction and bicycle accidents. Despite these challenges, Japan remains one of the world's most technological advanced countries with a rich cultural heritage.
Defense in Japan. The Japan Self-Defense Forces (JSDF) are the unified military forces of Japan, established in 1954. The JSDF comprises the Japan Ground Self-Defense Force, the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force, and Japan Air Self-Defense Force. The JSDF is controlled by the Ministry of Defense with the Prime Minister as Commander-in-Chief. Minoru Kihara is the Defense Minister. The Defense of Japan 2020 report published by the Ministry of Defense outlines Japan's defense policy, which includes measures to ensure Japan's security, constitution and basis of defense policy, defense budget, missile defense, and government's efforts to ensure safety of Japan-related vessels in the Middle East. Japan has deployed a multi-layered missile defense system consisting of the AG system and the Patriot Advanced Capabilities PAC-3 system. The JDF has also engaged in international peacekeeping operations with the United Nations. Japan Ground Self-Defense Force. The Japan Ground Self-Defense Force JGSDF, also referred to as the Japanese Army, is the land warfare branch of the Japan Self-Defense Forces. Created on July 1st, 1954, it is the largest of the three service branches of the Japan Self-Defense Force. Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force. The Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Forces, abbreviated also simply known as the Japanese Navy, is the maritime warfare branch of the Japan Self-Defense Forces, tasked with the naval defense of Japan. The JMSDF was formed following the dissolution of the Imperial Japanese Navy (IJN) after World War II. The JMSDF has a fleet of 154 ships, 346 aircrafts, and 50,800 personnel. Japan Air Self-Defense Force. The Japan Air Self-Defense Force STXAVIER'S, also referred to as the Japanese Air Force, is the air and space branch of the Japan Self-Defense Forces, responsible for the defense of Japanese airspace, other air and space operations, cyber warfare, and electronic warfare. The JASDF carries out combat air patrols around Japan, while also maintaining a network of ground and air early warning radar systems. The branch also has an aerobatic team known as Blue Impulse and has provided air transport in UN peacekeeping missions. Samurai were the hereditary military nobility and officer caste of medieval and early modern Japan from the late 12th century until their abolition in the late 1870s during the Meiji era. They were the well-paid retainers of the daimyo, the great feudal landholders. They had high prestige and special privileges. Following the passing of a law in 1629, samurai on official duty were required to practice daisho, wear two swords. Samurai were granted kirisute-gomen, the right to kill anyone of a lower class in certain situations. Some important samurai and other figures in Japanese history wanted others to believe all of them engaged combatants using bushido codes of martial virtues and followed various cultural ideals about what samurai should act like. Though they had predecessors in earlier military and administrative officers, the samurai truly emerged during the Kamakura shogunate, ruling from c. 1185 to 1333. They became the ruling political class with significant power but also significant responsibility. During the 13th century, the samurai proved themselves as adept warriors against the invading Mongols. During the peaceful Edo period 1603 to 1868, they became the steward and chamberlains of the daimyo estates, gaining managerial experience and education. In the 1870s, samurai families comprised 5% of the population. As modern militaries emerged in the 19th century, the samurai were rendered increasingly obsolete and very expensive to maintain compared to the average conscript soldier. The Meiji Restoration ended their feudal roles and they moved into professional and entrepreneurial roles. Their memory and weaponry remain prominent in Japanese popular culture.
Founded 9 Jan 2007. Headquarters Ichigaya, Shinjuku, Tokyo. Service branches Japan Ground Self-Defense Force, Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force, Japan Air Self-Defense Force. Power Index 0.1711. Military expenditure 45992 USD million. Minister of Defense Minoru Kihari. Age criteria 18 to 32. Flora Japanese cherry, buttercup, iris, chrysanthemum, camellia. Fauna Japanese macaque, sika deer, amami rabbit, dugong, Japanese siro.
Festival and culture. Japan is a country with a rich and diverse culture that has evolved over the thousands of years. Festivals are an integral part of Japan culture and identity at both national and local levels. Some of the most notable Japanese festivals include Shogatsu, New Year. This is one of the biggest festivals in Japan, celebrated from December 30th to January 3rd. Setsuba, the bean throwing festival. This fun and bizarre festival kicks off the Harumatsuri Spring Festival in Japan. Hanami, Cherry Blossom Festival. This festival celebrates the arrival of spring and the blooming of cherry blossoms across Japan.
Japanese delicacies: sushi, onigiri, natto rice bowl, dumplings, miso soup, funayaki. These are the future goals of Japan.
Thank you for your precious
time.